Hello, my name is Alex Sherman, and I'm going to talk about moonshine, its history, its legendary people and places and events in North Carolina and Virginia. So let's start with the history of moonshine. So as far back as can be traced, the origins of moonshine start with the American colonies and the production of corn whiskey, with that being the easiest thing to make at the time. As time went on and more people came to the colonies, which became the Americas, we started seeing more and more immigrants, more specifically Scottish and Irish, who would learn the process and see the process for creating this corn whiskey and improve on it time and time again until we eventually had what we now know as moonshine. So as time went on and events in the country occurred, like the Civil War, there was no problems for a long time for moonshine and its production. That changed in February of 1862 with North Carolina passing its first tax on whiskey, and banned alcohol production altogether in December of that same year. Over time, more and more laws and taxes were implemented that made producing alcohol, such as moonshine, more and more either expensive or illegal to do. This all culminated with people starting to just outright make moonshine illegally without paying the tax at any point. All of this culminated with the creation of the prohibition. During the prohibition, we saw a lot of things come into existence, such as illegal moonshining in a more large way, and the creation of bootleggers to transport that moonshine wherever it was not supposed to be sold. After a few years of the prohibition, it was ended, and as time went on, so people started to create more legal alcohol in general. But for the people that were making moonshine, the taxes were still bad enough that it was still seen as a better idea to just continue to create a moonshine in its illegal form and continue to bootleg because it was just a better way to make money. Thanks to this practice, we started to see more and more people and skill come into things like moonshining and bootlegging. We saw the rise of people like Junior Johnson, whose father was also a bootlegger, and when as a child, his house was raided by federal agents, and they found hundreds of gallons of illegal moonshine in his house. After a few years, and he grew up, he also became he like his father became a bootlegger, and was such a skilled driver. He went on to become a NASCAR driver, and is credited with the invention of the bootleg term. One of the bigger events from this time was the Franklin County conspiracy trial of 1935, where many local officials were found to be taking bribes to look the other way when it came to the production of moonshine. This was discovered thanks to the county in ordering 1,000,000 5-gallon jars and 37 tons of yeast to that county alone. Time went on, and the world began to change, and moonshine also began to change. This could be seen in more people becoming a legal producer of moonshine, with the taxes and all the problems around it becoming less so. There's also more clear changes that we can see in like modern media, with the image of moonshine being completely different from what it was. This can be seen in the fact that there are now like TV shows or specifically about some people that are still producing illegal moonshine to this very day. There's also the fact that you could go to most any liquor store or ABC store, depending on where you are, and buy moonshine. With the main difference between this and illegal moonshine just being how controlled the production is, and how like monitored certain aspects of it are. In the modern day, though, most information about specific moonshiners during the time of the prohibition and the time following has been lost, thanks to the relative nature of moonshine production for the most part being done illegally. So the most information about them was not kept track of in any way. The names that have shown up are people like Marvin Popcorn Sutton, who was a prolific moonshine producer. He was a man who spent most of his life making moonshine. He had multiple run-ins with the law, but on the last one, he was going to be sentenced to 18 months in jail and decided that he would rather take his own life than be sent to jail for that amount of time. In general, though, moonshine has changed vastly since its first creation, from being a way for people to make money to being one of the only ways that people make money so that they can survive, to it being made illegal to produce or consume, to just being a regular drink with enough interest around it that the people that still make it illegally have gained TV shows and fame through that. Thank you for listening, and I hope this was informative to you. Have a good day.